Hi, I'm Ray and this is TinyTableGames, and today I'm talking about Quoridor. A really fun game for 2 players, pretty straightforward really. And this is the Pac Man Special Edition variant because I saw it and fell in love with it and had to get it just for the cool pieces. The game itself is very enjoyable. It's the same as the Standard Edition Quoridor except for the Pac Man variant, which I'll go into a bit. In any case, thank you very much for clicking on the video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into this. So in Quoridor, the game is played on a 9x9 board that's all nice and wood, and each space is delineated by the elevated section. Each character starts with a piece. In the Pac-Man version, they're a little bit cuter than they would otherwise be, and it starts in the middle of each side. The goal of the game is to move your piece from one side to the other before the other guy does the same. So on your turn, also at the start of the game, everybody gets a bunch of little fences, which is 2 square wide pieces that fit on the board like that. So on your turn, you have a choice. You can either move one space forward or sideways, no diagonal movements, or you can place one of your 10 fences anywhere on the board. There's a couple restrictions. You can't straddle. It always has to be exactly between 2 pieces, and you can never leave someone no way across the board. You can't just build a wall straight across and haha, I win. So that's about it. So on your turn, you just have to, basically it's an action economy. You either have to decide, am I moving forward, am I moving sideways, or am I gonna throw a wall up in front of my opponent and force him to move sideways and give him an extra movement, and then I move forward, then he probably throws a fence in front of me, and so on and so forth. The first one to get, like I said, to the other side wins. The only other rule is if by some method, like somebody moves like this, and suddenly you wanna move across them, you get to hop their square, which is like the big power move in the game because that gives you 1 extra square of movement. And it's really just that simple. You either move or you play one of your 10 fences. And once they're played, they're out on the board and you can't change them again. So you want to be somewhat careful in how you choose to do that and delay your opponent just enough to stay ahead of them. And that's literally all there is to it. However, there's also the Pac Man variant. Okay, here is the setup for the Pac Man variant. One player plays Pac Man, the other player plays all 4 ghosts. The goal of the game is for the ghost to use up all 3 of Pac-Man's lives, or for Pac-Man to pick up all 4 pellets. The basic rules are, and these are just the power pellets, Pac-Man gets to move 2 squares on his turn, and he can move back and forth. He just can't move diagonal. So 1, 2 would be valid, 1, 2 would be valid, and so on. Pretty straightforward. The ghosts on their turn move 1 square, unless they are in direct line of sight of Pac-Man with no walls in between. Then they get to move 2 because they're very excited. Should a ghost get to Pac-Man, everybody resets and Pac-Man loses 1 life. Now, if Pac-Man gets to a power pellet, he eats the pellet and immediately gets to move 3 spaces. If he manages to catch a ghost during that time, he eats the ghost and the ghost is removed from the board until such time as Pac-Man loses a life, and then the ghost returns. If he can manage to not do that, the ghost simply doesn't come back. As soon as he eats the 4th power pellet, he wins the game, or as soon as he loses his 3rd life, the ghosts win the game. There's no playing fences in this version of the game. There's 3 setups. This is the main setup. There's a variant where the walls are slightly different, and there's a 3rd setup where no walls are present, and much like regular Quoridor, you get to decide whether you want to place a wall or move on your turn. But there's, as you might imagine, a couple variations on how many walls you get and so on and so forth. But that said, let's get into a game. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this version of Pac Man Quoridor. I highly recommend it. It's very entertaining. You can play classic Quoridor or just the super eye-catching, fun to sit on a game table Pac Man version. I'm Ray, this is TinyTableGames. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.